The information provided on this show does not, and is not intended to, constitute legal advice. Instead, all information on this show is for general informational purposes only. The information provided is not a substitute for legal advice, and we recommend viewers consult an attorney for specific legal matters.
Good morning. Welcome back to Condo Craze and HOAs. Every Sunday at 11 a.m. we're here on our YouTube channel. Today is July 14th. Yesterday was July 13th, a day we will not forget.
No, we won't. No,
Thus,
we won't.
the red here with Eric Glazer, Board Certified in Community Association Law. He's still taking your calls and educating you today on anything condo and HOA related, new laws and from time to time language and oh my gosh. But right now he's a little bit...
Yeah, all of us.
We all are,
right?
Yeah. As to what happened yesterday to former President Trump. And if you haven't had God do anything in your life, then you're not going to really understand what happened yesterday because it was a miracle that that man's still alive. But God bless those people behind him that didn't survive.
Split terrible, right? Imagine you go to a rally to support President Trump and you don't come home.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
You don't even know what hit you.
Right. Imagine you have to tell that to the family. And Trump made sure to talk about that.
Yeah.
And his very first words out of his mouth. Feels terrible for the family.
Yeah.
It's just awful.
So if you want to call in and ask Eric a question, again, he's board certified in Community Association Law, has offices here in Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. The number to call is 717-GLAZER-8. That's 717-452-9378. And Eric.
Yeah, of course, if you're a fan of the show, don't forget to subscribe to two things. Number one, our YouTube channel, because by doing so, you don't have to watch the show live. You can watch it at your convenience. We have a wonderful library of shows that is getting, quite frankly, thousands and thousands of hits. And, of course, you should subscribe to our email list at condocrazeandhoas.com, because by subscribing to our email list, you're going to get emails about the show, our blog, our seminars. The dates are out. Robert has put it up on our list. We're going to give you the dates, and you will be able to register as of today. You'll get copies of our newsletters, updates on the law, and a lot more. And Karen, where else can they find us?
Well, of course, you don't forget, you can always follow the show on Facebook, TikTok, Apple, and Spotify, basically any platform that would carry such a show or a podcast.
Tomorrow's topic also on our blog, hoa-condoblog.com, hoa-condoblog.com. We'll follow what we are going to talk about today. Was all this for nothing? Do condos and HOAs even have to listen to all these new laws? Yeah, we'll talk about that. Now, I got to tell you, I came in today and I said to Robert, we're not doing the show. We're not doing the complicated topic today about Kaufman laws and whether or not they apply in community associations. Why? Because, as you know, it's the most complicated topic you can teach.
And can people wrap their brain around it today,
I
all days?
think I could wrap my brain around it, quite frankly, nor did I think our listeners or viewers can wrap their brains around it. And Robert said, no, we gotta keep to what we do. And I think that's your position as well. We can talk about it a little, what happened yesterday.
Right.
But I think we got to keep to what they do. I think the viewers that tuned in today tuned in for that.
Well, and if you do want to call in and say something, get something off your chest, that's fine too.
Absolutely. But I'll say this. I think I want to get a few words out. What you just said is true. What happened yesterday was an absolute miracle. And again, if you believe in God, what happened yesterday was certainly a situation where God intervened at the last minute. The man turned his head at the very last second, and if he doesn't do that, it's over. Yeah. It's over if he doesn't do that. We'll be talking about his funeral today, and thank God that happened. We can also talk about why it happened. How in the world was a guy with a rifle able to get to a roof that had a straight shot at him?
130 yards away.
130 yards. And we just saw a video from the BBC where a guy was saying, I was yelling at the police for minutes that there's a guy over there with a rifle on a roof.
in camo,
Yes,
bear crawling
bear
up the
crawling,
roof.
and they didn't do a thing about it.
Like,
so-
why is Trump still on the stage with
Yeah,
this guy over here?
That's what he's yelling. And that guy will certainly be testifying in front of Congress. You know, there a breakdown on the Secret Service side? Apparently, yes. You know, apparently, absolutely.
Dan
I mean, the guys
Bongino is irate.
irate. You know, look, the guys that got on top of Trump and surrounded him immediately, they're
And
heroes.
women. There were lots
And
of
women.
women.
I'm sorry. You want to talk about women, so let's do that for a second. There's a woman who's in charge of the Secret Service that
Cheetle.
apparently was in charge of guarding Cheetos last year. That's right, potato
Pepsi
chips.
Company.
Pepsi Company.
Yeah.
She went from that to being head of the Secret Service somehow.
Well, it's diverse.
Yeah, and I listened to a whole bunch of agents from the Secret Service this morning say that's because it's all about diversity. They don't care about the quality of the person. They care about
We
diversity.
haven't heard from her either.
Right. Let's see. But so we can talk about all these reasons why it happened. But here's why else it happened. It happened because since the beginning of his presidency, we have a press that created a false narrative that we have an absolutely evil man,
Hitler.
evil man, Hitler, right, in the White House that has to be stopped at all costs. It started immediately with Russia. We have a guy with ties to President Putin. They're friends. That, of course, turned out to be false. Hillary paid for the dossier, and nothing happened. We have a president that needed to be impeached twice. We have a president that apparently told people break into the Congress. It just keeps going. We have a president that needed to be convicted of 34 felony convictions for bookkeeping. It just never stopped. It never stopped.
Remember, the shooter is 20. So half his life
Yeah.
he has heard.
All this, just
all
heard
of this.
all of this.
All this for the last 10
years. We have a president
years.
whose home needed to be raided by the FBI. And I will tell you, the night that happened, I was standing in front of the TV. And as an attorney, I could not believe what I was watching. I mean, at that point, I knew all bets were off.
Yeah, no guns should have gone into Mar-a-Lago because Secret Service is there.
Apparently, they went in with shoot-to-kill orders
Yeah.
if they had to. That's how insane it got it. We have a president that was so evil that it was being thought that he even be allowed to be on the ballot in how many different states, right?
They wanted to take his security detail away because
Okay.
he's a felon.
Because he's a felon. And this is a narrative that the press created, and it just never stopped. Every single day, it was pounded into the American public without a stop. Relentless. Was the press not relentless? From day one, it just never stopped.
Biden said put a bullseye on his back.
A bullseye. So we can't be surprised, quite frankly, by what happened yesterday. And on the other hand, when Trump gets shot, the man realizes what's going on immediately.
Zero fear. Zero.
He drops to the ground. He's bleeding. He gets up, pumping his fists, saying, "Fight, fight, fight." It's just unbelievable.
Every shot of him has a flag in it, too, by the way.
But wait. What did some reporters on the liberal station say? You can't make this up. You can't make this up. He shouldn't be doing that.
Oh,
That's
they
wrong.
said that? Oh, my gosh.
They're criticizing him after he just got shot and there's blood all over his face. Well, the press has blood on their hands.
Well, guess
That's
what?
the way I see it.
When something like this happens, you have fight or flight.
Fight or flight.
And
the
who do
man
we
fought.
have
Yep.
up there? We have a
Absolutely.
leader who fights.
Well,
and he's defiant, and that's a good thing.
absolutely. I'll sum
That's
it up.
who I want.
Absolutely. No two ways about it. And I'll sum it
Fight
up
or
this
flight.
way.
Okay, so you have a problem with him fighting? Oh,
Yep.
well, that's who I want to run our country.
100%. And that's who Elon Musk exactly said the same words last night. He's the greatest fighter for America since Theodore Roosevelt. Did you see that?
Yes, I did.
And that's the man I want president. And despite everything they put President Trump through, despite the fact that this guy is rich enough to buy his own island and retire, and despite now almost having his head blown off, right? Think about what he went through. The man stands up and he's giving us a lesson with his
Yes,
hands in
yes.
the air. He's giving us a lesson. Fight, fight, fight. Don't ever give up. It's remarkable. And like you said a few minutes ago, those pictures just wrapped up the election for good. It's over. And rest assured, despite everything that every member of the press put him through, despite how hard they tried to knock him into the ground and bury him for good. Sorry, he will be he will win the election on November 9th, and he will be sworn in on January 20th. It's over now.
And the FBI's got to investigate. Well, he'll go in and clean house about that.
Oh, they're done.
I think we all, WWTD, what would Trump do? I think Biden took a page from his book, because we've all learned from Trump that what you do is you fight.
Absolutely.
Through everything,
fight.
even all the court stuff. So Biden is like, oh my gosh, I had a bad night. He's still fighting.
Instinctively, the man gets shot.
Yep.
He's lying on the ground. He stands up. There's blood gushing from him.
Get my
and
shoes.
He stands up and still says, fight, fight, fight. It's like I felt at that moment, they're even trying to take me out. They're even trying to take me out and kill me. Fight, fight, fight. Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable.
It was the most dramatic thing you could imagine.
There's no Hollywood movie like this.
Yes, yes.
They won't make it, you know.
So, press, this is on you. That's exactly how I feel about it. Let's see if they ease up even that much.
Maybe for a day or two.
Maybe for a day or two. Right, right, exactly. By next week, remember, he faces sentencing in the New York case, and you'll start hearing that these bookkeeping charges.
No, that's in September.
Oh, they moved it to September now.
Yeah.
You're right. I'm sorry.
And that may be moot.
You think?
With the Supreme Court decision.
Right.
But anyway.
Let's see.
Do you
if
think they're going to put in jail after they tried to shoot him?
For bookkeeping
Some guy
charges,
tried to shoot him?
I hope not. I hope not. But again, I don't think the press is going to let up. They'll give him 2-3 days, a little break. After that, they're going to start all over again. Was there even an apology about Russia? On the contrary, the reporters who broke the story, Russia, 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 for the New York Times, do you know they won Pulitzer Prizes?
Oh, yeah. Rachel Maddow makes $13 million or whatever, $33 million, and she has gotten every single story wrong. Every single story.
Ask if
Russia,
the guys who won the Pulitzer Prizes, if they gave back the Pulitzer Prizes. No, they did not. Okay.
If I got every story wrong, I wouldn't have a job.
Right. Imagine. So you can't even make this up. What's happened over the last 4 years? It's absolutely terrible. You know, what can I say?
His whole presidency as well.
Yes,
8
of course.
years, 10 years.
Yep, of just insanity. So, I hope they just eat it. I hope they eat it. I hope it's in their face in November. I hope it's in their face in January. And I'm looking forward to him getting sworn in. But
if
let's
he's not
do this.
killed first, he has to
right.
stay alive.
Well, there's going to be massive changes. To Biden's too. When Biden gives a speech now in public, there's going to be massive changes.
And Trump's probably going to get his own detail.
Yeah. So, right, exactly. But glad I got some of that off my chest. Let's do this. Let's go to a break. So I'll listen to you guys today. I'll come back. We'll talk about the Kaufman language. Okay? Very complicated stuff. Maybe it's good. Maybe it'll get our mind off for a little while. What the hell happened yesterday? We'll take your calls, and we'll be back right after this, 717-452-9378, or drop us a question or a comment in the chat box. We'll be back right after this.
There are very large management companies, and there are very small management companies, and I think Affinity sits somewhere in the middle of that, where they are big enough to provide you with all of the back of the house services, the accounting, the infrastructure, the support systems, but small enough to be high touch.
We believe at Affinity that we do the 9 to 5 so that you don't have to do that.
Oh no, an unexpected leak. Jay, you know that's no way to solve a roof problem. Call Best Roofing. We solve roof problems.
We are DMI Paving and Seal Coating, Florida's parking lot experts. We specialize in asphalt paving and repair, including pothole repair, seal coating using JC7 or polytar, concrete curbs, ramps, and walkways, and striping and pavement marking, as well as ADA compliance. We service commercial properties, including homeowners associations, apartment communities, shopping malls, warehouses, stadiums and arenas, and more. Experience is worth more than anything in an industry like ours, and our staff has decades of it. We have specialized equipment for any job, regardless of size, saving you time and money. DMI has a reputable history. We have been in business since 1956. We serve the state of Florida from 6 locations. Let us bid on your next parking lot project. Visit us online at dmipavingandsealcoating.com.
Rimkus Consultants offer the professional expertise to help condominium and cooperative communities provide safe, compliant buildings for their tenants. We have more than 170 Florida licensed engineers and architects who are experienced with local regulations and can assist with Senate Bill 4D compliance. We can help with milestone structural inspections, capital expenditure evaluations, structural integrity reserve studies, and developer transition reports. Focusing on energy, resilience, maintainability, and sustainability, our experts can help with every phase of the building life cycle. For mitigation after a catastrophic event, building restoration, repair and remediation consulting, or Senate Bill 4D inspections, please visit rimkus.com.
Channel, Karen Curtis, attorney Eric Glazer. He is board certified in community association law. And if you'd like to ask him a question, we're going to be talking Kaufman language. So like if any of these new laws that have passed, do they actually apply?
Oh my God, this is everything we just went through, right? All the new laws. Was it for nothing?
Oh, this is unbelievable. It's 717-452-9378.
Yeah, this is a tough topic. So I'll tell everybody at home, put your thinking caps on for this segment of the show because it's complicated stuff, okay? Supreme Court all even thought it was complicated, so get ready. Okay, so I argued a case before the Florida Supreme Court in 2011 called Condo versus the Grand Condominium. All right, in that case, a minority group of commercial unit owners at the Grand Condominium here in Miami, they challenged a new Florida statute that took away their rights under the bylaws and the declaration. They had written, confirmed rights in the declaration and bylaws to elect a majority of the board of directors, okay? This new law comes around, and all of a sudden it gives the residential unit owners the right to elect a majority of the board of directors. So they say, wait a minute, we're going to appeal this new law. So on appeal, this case goes all the way up to the Florida Supreme Court.
And that's you.
And I argued it in front of the Florida Supreme Court.
And what happened?
I lost 7-0. Thank you very much. Okay, but here's what happened in front of the Florida Supreme Court. Florida Supreme Court that says, since this new law impaired the contract, with the contract being the declaration and bylaws of this community, since this new law impaired the contract, which is the voting rights of the commercial unit owners, it could only apply at the Grand Condominium if the Grand Condominium had the as amended from time to time language in the governing documents. The Supreme Court says, well, if it has the as amended from time to time language in the governing documents, even though it takes away these substantial rights, these substantive rights of the commercial unit owners, right? It will still apply because it wasn't a surprise to them. They were on notice that this could actually happen to them. But here at the Grand, unfortunately for the residential unit owners, the documents at the Grand said we only adopt the condominium laws as they exist in 1986. There was no and as amended from time to time.
Well, that was huge.
That was huge. So unfortunately for the residential unit owners at the Grand was locked into, and still is to this day, locked into the laws that existed in 1986.
What was your main point that you argued before the Supreme Court?
My main point on appeal was that plenty of times, many times, courts have said, we're going to change the contract. Okay, even though it's a contract, even though it takes away substantive rights from people who have signed that contract, right? The state legislators, under their police powers, right, have the right to change contracts if it's important, if it's done for the health, safety, and welfare of the people.
So then that applies.
I couldn't get the court to buy, I couldn't get the Supreme Court to buy
Connect that dot.
that, hey, this is important. We're talking about the health, welfare, and safety of everybody in the state that lives in a condominium. When a legislature makes laws about a condominium, it is affecting millions of people in the states, and certainly, when a state legislator makes a new law about a condominium, they believe it applies in that condominium,
right,
in all condominiums across the state.
They didn't know about Kaufman.
They didn't know about Kaufman, and can you imagine, they didn't realize that even though they pass a law, 110 to 0, let's say, right? I mean, they're overwhelmingly in favor of it. Well, guess what, legislators? The law that you just passed may only apply in half of the condominiums across the state. And when you tell legislators who have passed these new laws that, you know, I just want you to know, maybe you don't know the law, but I'm just telling you, thank you for passing the law, but it only applies in half the condos in the state.
I don't understand how contract law can be stronger than a legislative body.
Right? But legislators cannot believe what I'm telling them, what they learn. They are angry.
Of course.
Okay, very angry. So here we are with a decision of the Florida Supreme Court that there's almost no way to get around, because I don't see for the near future, right, a case like this going up to the Florida Supreme Court and the Florida Supreme Court somehow reversing itself and saying, okay, now forget what we said in 2011, we completely change our minds, and we will go with police powers this time. I don't see it happening, and here we are. We come to the new laws in 2024 that the Florida Legislature puts so much time and effort into over the last 2 years, and you have to ask yourself, when you pick up one of these new laws, take them one at a time, do these new laws impair contractual rights? Right? Let's start with any new law. Does this new law impair contractual rights of the owners or the association? And if you can argue that they do, well, guess what? That new law won't apply in our condominiums or our HOAs. Okay? Again, why? Because it impairs contractual rights.
Did you contemplate this when you were pushing for all these new laws?
Did I contemplate it? How about this? I'm standing in front of the Supreme Court, and you have to, in effect, tell them, listen, if you go the other way, then you're going to have a situation where you can have 10 condominiums or 10 HOAs all on the same street, every one of them governed by a different set of laws, right? Depending upon when that condo or HOA was built, right?
Right.
And which one has Kaufman language and which one does not have Kaufman language.
So you argued that and you let them know, and still.
And went down in flames. So that's where we are at right now. Now, the scary part is, let's start with the new law requiring mandatory reserves.
By the way, your partner has an idea of how to fix this, which I love.
We'll get there.
Okay.
Rich came up with a brilliant idea, perhaps.
To fix it.
To fix it. Okay. And I can tell you that next year, yes, we're going to take Rich's idea and try to fix it. But I've already been contacted, and that's why we're going to talk about it today. I've already been contacted with, well, wait a minute, Mr. Glazer. We have we're now being forced to have mandatory reserves in a condominium because of a brand new statute. Well, when you look at our condominium documents, it specifically says we have the right to vote down the reserves. We can vote it down. So doesn't this new law impair substantively our contract, because it now takes away the right for us to waive reserves?
But what about safety? Doesn't that usurp the contract?
Well, the only way we get to safety is if this goes back in front of the Florida Supreme Court, and the Florida Supreme Court rules, okay, on this one, the state can certainly use their police powers to make this particular reserve law a law.
Okay.
But guess what? Pretty good argument that until we get there,
they won't.
Until that this new law impairs substantive rights and does not apply in condominiums that don't have the as amended from time to time language. And just so you know.
But how many boards know they have it? A, B, that this
too many are starting to know.
Oh, they do. Okay.
Right, and many people know. And let me tell you something. It pains me to have to admit that.
I'm sure.
That after all the fighting I've done to get mandatory reserves passed in condominiums, it may only apply in those condominiums that have Kaufman language, that have as amended from time to time language. And those people who want to fight it, that live in condominiums without as amended from time to time language, they got a shot. They got a shot at winning. And how sad is that? How sad
it's very
is that?
Sad. It's
after everything we went through, after going through a building collapse because there wasn't reserves on hand, that people may win, that I don't know. I don't have to do.
It's discouraging.
Yep. I got even worse news for you.
No, now what?
Yeah, worse news for you. Man, I don't want to admit this. Okay, this is the thing that I fought for my whole career. What about mandatory education?
I was going to ask you, that's your big baby.
What about mandatory education? It can be argued, and this is less of a winning argument, It can be argued that, hey, my documents don't say I have to go to school. You're forcing me to go to school? Doesn't that substantively change my governing documents, right? I don't have to do that. The answer may be yes, maybe no. This one's different. Procedural statutes, like how-to statutes, how to do something, right? Those apply regardless of whether or not there's Kaufman language. So certainly you can argue in this instance, like, wait a minute, we're talking about how to do an election, how you get on the board. It could be argued that this is a procedural statute. Okay. Is it?
So Kaufman does not apply to a procedural statute?
Correct.
Okay.
So it could be argued that, sorry, when it comes to board member education, you're going to school like it or not.
Yeah, it doesn't have anything to do with
procedural statute.
The condo in and of itself.
It doesn't change it doesn't substantively change your rights.
Right.
But it could be argued, yes, it does. It forces me to take time out of my schedule and go to school.
Just the board.
Not
the
run
condo
for the board,
people.
not the condo people.
The condo people are involved in the other things,
yes,
the reserves.
Correct, the reserves.
So we're talking
exactly.
about
we're talking
five people.
First law, correct. First
affects
law
everyone.
that I have to pay reserves affects everybody. Second law, we're just talking about potential board members arguing, I don't have to go to school because my docs don't require me to go to school, and this new law requires additional things from me. It's a substantive change to my contract, therefore it's unconstitutional. On that one, maybe yes, maybe no. But these are things, clearly, that the legislature fought for the good of the community, right? Clearly as a police power, right? And until the Florida Supreme Court rules that the legislature can do things like this as part of their police powers, especially after a collapse of a building in Surfside and 98 people dying, we don't know. We don't know if these laws are there or not.
Frank's asking, no Kaufman equals no revitalization?
That's a totally different thing. Revitalization, it has to do with HOA documents that go out from having any relevance because they weren't saved within the last 30 years.
Oh, okay.
They weren't preserved within 30 years. That's something
And
different.
you're no longer an HOA.
And you're no longer an HOA, like we spoke about, because you didn't properly preserve the documents. Okay, we're talking about two different things.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. That Frank asked that, not you. But that's okay.
Ann said, please answer Frank's comment.
Right. It's totally different thing we're
Gotcha,
talking about.
Ann.
But these are serious issues
Yes.
that we're dealing with from a condo perspective.
Right.
Very serious.
It ain't over till it's over. That's
Of
what you
course,
learn, right?
But could you imagine if a lot of these new laws that we've been teaching and preaching
Don't
are
even
not
apply.
relevant? Scary, right?
But it can be argued that that's good for the fiscal health of some of the condominiums, not for the physical health. The fiscal
true,
health.
the fiscal health. Oh, now
The physical
great.
health. It
I
may fall
not have to
down,
pay
but
reserves.
you don't have to worry about. You don't have to move.
Right. Well, it doesn't say, however, but the documents do say. Understand this. Okay. Yes, the reserves might not be mandatory, but even if reserves are not mandatory, if your building needs a fix because of the 30-year or 40-year inspection, and by the way, those laws still apply no matter what.
Okay.
Those are different laws. Those don't affect the relationship between the condo and the board, right? The people on the board. Those are laws that are put out by the county or the state.
Right.
So those laws apply no matter what, okay? Period. And even if you are not forced to pay reserves because there's no Kaufman language, your board can still say under the documents, well, fine, we're going to pass a massive special assessment for $20 million.
So
Your board can still do that.
As a person that lives in there, can I sue the board if they don't know they have Kaufman and they push this through?
Then push the reserves through?
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you the answer. I don't. It's sad. I'm worried about a couple of things. So yes,
and they have to give the money back after they've done the oh my gosh.
So yes, they can potentially sue the board and say to get a ruling that the mandatory reserves is unconstitutional. Yes, and what I'm afraid of, quite frankly, and I hate to say this as a lawyer, I hate it. Fake lawsuits. You have an attorney. You have somebody sue the board that this is an unconstitutional statute, and the members of the board want no reserves, and they agree. Okay, we agree that it's unconstitutional. Oh. Right, and we can't have it. And maybe they try to slip that past the judge for the judge to sign, get one past the goalie, right? Then we have a problem. So we said a mouthful and more. What a day. What a day.
Are you exhausted? I'm exhausted.
Yeah, I'm exhausted, but wide awake, believe me, same time. So let's do this. Let's go to our break at the bottom of the hour. Taking your calls, 717-452-9378. Again, 717-452-9378. Or ask us a question in the chat box. We'll be back right after this.
Is your condominium or HOA in need of accounting services? Look no further. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is one of South Florida's largest accounting and auditing firms, as recognized by the South Florida Business Journal, and is one of the few accounting firms uniquely specialized to provide accounting services to their growing condominium and homeowner association clientele throughout Florida. With primary offices in Aventura and Boca Raton, satellite offices in Naples and Orlando, and a professional staff of 65, Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg is prepared to meet the needs of any condominium or HOA in the state. The professionals at Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg also have experience working with timeshares, cooperatives, hotel condominiums, mixed-use buildings, and ancillary operations like restaurants, spas, and country clubs. Put their 25 years experience in your corner. Gerstle, Rosen & Goldenberg, 305-937-0116. That's 305-937-0116 or grgcpa.com.
Someday, you will need insurance. And for that day, you'll be glad you wrote down Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. Why? Because Insurco virtually insures everything. They're a full-line insurance agency that'll put together the best possible coverage and premium for almost anything. Need homeowners or condo insurance? Call Insurco. Need auto or motorcycle insurance? Call Insurco. How about golf cart insurance or trailer and RV insurance? Just call Insurco for a free quote. They're open every day. From renters insurance, officers and directors insurance, firearms and personal liability umbrellas to all types of business insurance, boat insurance, cancer policies, life, health, and annuities. All you need is Insurco. Get a free quote. They service Dade, Broward, and Palm Beach. Speak English and Spanish. Insurco Insurance and Financial Services. It's the only name you need. Office at 14401 West Sunrise Boulevard in Sunrise, inside Edmore Chevrolet.
Call 954-846-1206. 954-846-1206. That's 954-846-1206.
All over the world, people have plumbing problems. These problems can be expensive and destructive to fix. Have you ever wondered if there was a way to take care of your plumbing problems without destruction and an outrageous price tag? Welcome to Pipelining Technologies, Inc., where we specialize in fixing your problems without demolition and minimum cutting by means of pipelining. Pipelining is the ability to take a pipe damaged by root intrusion or long-term deterioration and make it new by means of inserting an epoxy-saturated liner into the pipe and allowing it to harden or cure, leaving behind a brand new pipe.
That sounds great. How can I get pipelining in my home, commercial building, or condominium?
Simply fill out our online contact form and a pipelining representative will get in touch with you in a timely fashion, or call us directly at 561-853-5463.
The second half hour of Condo Craze and HOAs here on YouTube. And we're taking your calls and questions. We're talking about the Kaufman language that applies to, you know, laws that are passed, and do they apply to your condo? And the number to call, 717-452-9378, 717-GLAZER with a Z8.
Yep, so I'm going to get all kinds of requests this week from people saying, I want to sue my association because the new law requires mandatory reserves. Our documents allow me to waive reserves. And do I have a case? And as much as I hate to admit it, on this show, as much as I hate to admit it, as an attorney, I got to give the answer. I got to give you the right answer. And the answer is, yeah, you probably do have a case.
Because of the contract that you have.
The contract that allows you to waive reserves suddenly was destroyed by the new law.
But what about the classes? There's no contract that says you don't have to take a class.
There's contracts. Your bylaws and declaration are contracts. The bylaws do not require you to take a class to get on the board.
Okay.
Okay?
Bylaws.
So
then.
by making you take a class, is it argued that, wait a minute, you just changed that contract. All that contract says is, I got to submit my name as a candidate.
So Kaufman
Doesn't say I
applies
have
to the bylaws and...
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. James Diaz writes in, is Kaufman an opinion or law? That's a case. Kaufman refers to a case. Kaufman versus Scheer, where all this was spoken about and decided.
When did that pass?
I don't know, in the 80s, I think.
80s.
And I don't know the exact year, but yes, Kaufman is the name of a case. It is law and it applies. Okay? How about the calls? How are we doing with that?
We have plenty of callers. You want to go to a caller?
Yeah, sure. Who do we got?
All right, let's go to Helen.
Helen, how are you, Helen?
From Miami.
Yes, good morning.
Hey, Helen, good morning. How are you?
Great, thank you. So I have a general question. It seems to me that the line between management and board responsibilities is rather blurred. Whose responsibility is it actually? To conduct meetings?
Yeah, that's a
to
great
provide records
question.
requests?
That is a great question. Because if you look at everybody's bylaws, right, it says that the president shall do this, the treasurer shall do that, right? The secretary shall do this, right? And it puts out, tremendous responsibilities, especially on the secretary treasurer. And what really happens in real life, that if you have a management company, those jobs are passed on to the manager. You're right. And there's also probably language in the same document that says the board may hire management. Okay, so here's how it really works. You can hire a management company to do all the record keeping, all the bookkeeping, etc. But yes, the members of the board do have a responsibility to make sure that the management company is doing what the management company should be doing, right? Make sure that they are doing the record keeping. Make sure that they are balancing the books. Make sure that they're not giving you checks to sign when there's no money in the account, right? So it's a...
But you still have checks left, Eric.
Exactly. I gotta have money, right? I love that bumper sticker. So you're right. It's very close as to who has what responsibilities. So the bottom line is when you hire a management company, they can do all those things. But if the management company screws up, yes, it's on the board. I'm going to ask the board, were you watching the management company? Were you watching their spending? Were you watching them balancing the book? Were you getting books? Were you getting monthly financial reports? And if you weren't doing all those things, then the responsibility is ultimately on the members of the board of directors. And Helen, I hope that answers your question. Okay?
Oh, could I ask a little bit more detail on that?
Yeah, quickly.
Does the board then have the ability to override any managerial decisions? And one other thing.
Yeah, sure.
I filed a DBPR complaint recently, and one of the options of who to file the complaint against was not the board. You have the management company you can file a complaint against, the CAM you can file a complaint against, but not the board per se.
That doesn't make sense.
So
of course you can. Of course you can. You certainly can file complaints against
probably
your
most
board
of the DBPR cases are complaints against the board.
Yeah, respectfully, I think I would disagree with what you just said. You can certainly file complaints against your association, let's put it that way, against your association, maybe not specifically does it say the board, but certainly your association.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about really quickly, I think your question was something, could you override a decision made by management? And again, I don't think people understand the relationship between...
You're in charge.
Exactly. A management company and the board. The relationship is simple. The management company works for you. Of course you can override a decision made by the management company.
And the condo owners, the board works for them.
Right, correct.
Right?
The board works for the condo owners.
That's the way it's
and
supposed
the management
to work.
company works for that board of directors, period. You like you just have heard in my previous answer, the board of directors hires the management company to help them with these things.
Right.
But if they don't like the way the management company is doing something, or they don't like a decision by the management company, of course the board can override the decision of the management company. That is their job. And unfortunately, I get this question asked of me all the time. And I get it asked of me more in communities, and some people might be upset by this, but it's the truth. I get it asked of me more in communities that are 55 and over communities. I find that in 55 and over communities, the manager can do all at once. The board members in a 55 community don't watch. They're perhaps too tired to deal with all this day in and day out. They don't want to. And the management company sometimes will take advantage of 55 and over communities.
And practice law legally.
Just do things that they shouldn't be doing in a 55 and over community. It happens all the time. You look, I'll say this outright, you look at the cases over the years where managers get caught stealing money from the association. Overwhelmingly, it's in communities that are 55 and over communities, overwhelmingly. But we got to do this. We got to take our final break of the hour. 717-452-9378. We'll be back right after this.
Is your home or condo looking old, worn out, and in need of a fresh look? Then you need PD Painting to paint your property and make it look like new again. PD Painting will first properly prepare your home and condo and then use only the highest quality paint products. After many years in the painting industry, PD Painting has achieved a reputation for always delivering a reliable and professional finish. PD Painting is fully licensed and insured and offers a 7 to 10-year warranty. Their technicians are expert craftsmen. Let PD Painting handle all the details and then sit back and watch them restore your property and bring back that brand new look and feel. Need a service call? PD Painting will be there on the spot. Need financing? PD Painting can offer that too. Call PD Painting at 888-416-3204. Again, that's 888-416-3204. Go to the website pdpaintinginc.com. Need painting done in your home and community? Contact the experts at PD Painting.
This message is for anyone who has taken on the important responsibility of becoming an officer or director in a homeowner or condominium association. It is also for the management companies who work closely with these caring people to make sure things are done the right way. Hello, I'm Gil Pomar, South Florida Regional President for Center State Bank, now the second largest bank based in Florida. Our bank, Center State Bank, has an amazing team of professionals who are exclusively dedicated to the homeowner and condo association market. Your job is not easy. There are repairs and new projects that need financing. There are legal and social issues that need to be understood. There are also technology and servicing issues that your residents want to be improved. Why not choose a bank that knows this business backward and forward? Why not have a local banker who will meet with you face to face whenever it is convenient for you or your board? Center State Bank has over 2,000 associations as customers for a reason. Please give us a chance to earn your business. Call Terry Russo at 954-633-1666 to make it happen. Center State Bank is an equal housing lender and a member of the FDIC.
Need an insurance evaluation, audit, or quotation for your condo association or homeowners association? If so, then you need to speak with our insurance experts at Mack & Waltz. We insure over 800 associations, and we are the clear leader in this marketplace. Mack & Waltz has been in business since 1989. We write insurance on billions of dollars of property values. We are an independent insurance agency representing insurance companies which specialize in condo and HOA insurance. The staff at Mack & Waltz works closely with board members and property managers and regularly attends association meetings to help educate the association about their insurance policies. To learn more about how Mack & Waltz can save you money and improve your insurance program, call now 954-640-6225 and ask for Greg Waltz. 954-640-6225. Mack & Waltz Insurance Group. Let us protect your association. Or write in the chat box 717-452-9378. Also, we had questions in the chat box. We're talking about Kaufman language, which really is in condo docs only, not HOA, but you're going to get into that. But Peg wants to know, where exactly is Kaufman language in the documents? Where can you find it?
Most of the time, probably 90% of the time, you'll find your Kaufman language in the section of your documents called definitions, and it will say the Act or the Condominium Act, and it'll say the Act refers to Florida Statute 718 as it exists now, and it may stop there, or as it exists on this date and as amended from time to time. If it has the as amended from time to time language, that's Kaufman language. Okay, you're adopting all these new laws.
And what's the shall and may thing?
I'm not sure what your question.
Well, the shall and may, there's you shall abide by it or you may abide by it.
Well,
That's not Kaufman.
It's not Kaufman. It'll generally say the Condominium Act as it exists on today's date or as it exists today and as amended from time to time. No shall and may in there. Okay? So where is it found? Generally in the definition sections. Now let's talk about HOAs for a minute. Okay? Let's talk about HOAs for a minute.
No Kaufman.
There is never a situation where you'll find a set of documents for HOAs where it says the act means the Florida Homeowners Association Act as it exists now and as it exists from time to time. You'll never find that. So 99.9% of HOAs do not have Kaufman language in their documents.
So do the new laws apply to them?
That's the scary part. So you have to take every new HOA law, right, and say, okay, let's look at it. Does it change the contract in a substantive way? Does it change the rights of somebody? Does it add new responsibilities to them? Does it add new financial penalties to them? On the same token, does it take away responsibilities or rights that the board had? If it does, that's a substantive change to that contract. It will not apply if there's no Kaufman language in the docs, and HOAs never have Kaufman language.
But even if there is Kaufman, it may not apply.
You know, if it has Kaufman, it will apply. It will apply.
Okay.
Yes, but if there's no Kaufman language, forget about it. It doesn't apply in that HOA.
But you're saying in condos, if there's Kaufman, it still doesn't apply because of a contract.
If there's Kaufman language, okay, it will apply in that condo.
Okay.
No Kaufman language, it will not apply because the new statute changes the contract and therefore will not apply.
If I'm confused.
It imposes new rights, new responsibilities, new penalties. Therefore, it substantively changes the contract, will not apply absent Kaufman language.
So if the Kaufman language is there, the Kaufman language allows a contract to be changed.
Correct.
Okay.
Bingo.
That's
exactly.
the difference.
Okay. Complicated stuff. Okay. Who do we got?
Let's go to Carrie.
Carrie. How are you, Carrie?
Hi, Eric.
Good morning.
Great show today about Kaufman language and everything.
Thank you. Complicated stuff.
Yeah, complicated, but here's another complication. We have in our documents about insurance, and we signed an insurance policy back on June 29th.
Okay.
Because in our documents it says we must be fully insured.
Right.
But we could never get fully insured from insurance companies. So we felt when we got the new insurance on June 29th and we signed it, we were not in the wind. We couldn't get the $120 million that we needed to be fully insured.
Why?
We only got $20 million.
Why? Why were
Now,
you unable to?
Excuse me?
Why were you unable to get the insurance that your documents mandate?
Because they said it wasn't available to us at the time.
Yeah,
but then 2 weeks later, they said to us, now it's available after we have our budget.
Right.
Do we set up an amended budget, or do we have to accept what they gave us originally? We signed it. That's what we have.
Absolutely,
Now, do we have to have
100%. Hold on. Absolutely, 100%. You need an amended budget to include that insurance if it's now available to you. Your board is in a very precarious place right now. If a storm blows by and you are not fully insured, think about the problems that the unit owners are going to have when they try to make a claim, insurance is not there, right? Think about the problem when your board tries to put in a claim for damage to the common elements and that insurance is not there. And
Plus the docs say you have to have it.
and the docs say you have to have it. It's, period, end of story. But think about when that insurance isn't there and the board wants to rebuild the building and think, hey, we can't wait till that insurance money to come in, right? It doesn't, and everybody has to get special assessment.
I was going to say they they
Correct.
screwed up. They
and
can't
the
do a
unit
special
owners
assessment.
are going to sue and go crazy.
My God.
Yeah, it's not going to be good. So yes, that insurance is now available. 100%. You got to amend that budget and go out and get that insurance.
Here's a yes or no question real
Yeah.
quick. Thank you.
Thanks for the call. Yeah.
My HOA requires tile roofs. With the new hurricane law, can I install any hurricane-approved roofing?
If it's allowed by the Florida Building Code, basically, yes, you can. As long as you can install a metal roof. As long as it meets the Florida Building Code, basically, and as long as you comply with the color and type of pattern that's used in the community, you're good. But you can use any type of
hurricane-approved roofing.
Hurricane-approved, yeah. Hurricane protection, as it's called by the statute.
There you go, James.
Rob, you had something to say.
Well, they should call it Best Roofing.
Yes, they
Absolutely, they should call
should.
Best Roofing. That's right. Good plug for them. Robert, you wanted to say something regarding what we said in the beginning of the show.
No, you're putting me on the spot.
No, not at all. We want difference of opinion is fine. That's the whole damn point here. We should be able to talk about things without killing each other.
Well, I'll address some of the comments in the chat that were calling for us to stick to the topic of the show, to condo and HOA. And I think to a certain extent, a lot of the topics that Eric talks about extends out into the community. And that's his intention when he goes into these topics, is to bring what's happening, current events, community events.
The show is about communities.
Correct.
That's right. Exactly.
So I think that there's a lot to be open-minded in that area. And I think the only thing that I could ask for is that we come together now and we don't attack each other over our political differences, that we embrace disagreement.
Exactly.
And
President Biden said that yesterday. I thought that's wonderful. I hope that's exactly where we go as a country from this point forward. That's all you can hope for, right?
Absolutely.
So I'm with you. I'm 100% with you in that regard. I think we have time for one or two more calls.
All right, let's go to Dawn.
Hi, Dawn. How are you?
Don or
Hi,
Dawn?
Thank you for taking my call.
Sure. Where are you calling from? Where are you calling from?
Delray.
Okay.
Delray Boca.
Great. How can we help?
Okay. So we're in an HOA, and we are rewriting our documents because of all the new laws. But you just confused me a little bit because you say if the new documents are rewritten and it changes one way or the other, our rights, that might not be okay. So our documents say in our section under amendments, this declaration may be amended at any time by a majority vote of all owners. It also says from time to time in there, but it refers to the documents themselves, not
Correct.
the document.
That is not
So
from
I'm
time to
wondering-
time language.
Right, I know that.
Right.
But when it says the declaration may be amended, so can we amend our documents?
Of course you can.
Okay.
Yes, in every community you
and so
can amend your documents. Now, if you like the new laws that have passed, right? If you like them, you may want to amend your documents to include Kaufman language.
There you go.
If you don't like the new laws that
that's what
came
we-
out, you might be
that's
happy
what we
that there's
wanna
no
put in
Kaufman
there.
language.
But you need a lot of people to vote for it.
Yes, correct. Now, I don't know what it
Yeah, right.
requires.
You need it. The
A
other
lot.
thing is under rules and regulations. Other thing under rules and regulations, in our docs it doesn't address it other than on 720 where it says that adopt reasonable, and you've said, I think, and other attorneys have said, there's nothing in there, so you can do what you want, really. So
Regarding
my question
rules
was,
and regulations,
what does-
yeah, hold on, let me finish up
when,
with this
when
one.
they say, when they say adopt, does that mean you adopt? You mean written or anything
Docs
like
refer
that? So-
to, generally, when you say docs, we're talking about all your governing documents. But when we talk about rules and regulations, even the statute gives the board the authority to make rules and regulations governing the common elements of the community. Sometimes, if you look in the condo section, it's even rules and regulations regarding the units themselves. Okay, now a little lesson
So when do
on
those
rules.
when do those rules and regulations become effective?
Okay.
That's my question.
All right.
When do those rules and regulations become effective?
Okay, they become effective upon the board passing them at a board meeting. Period. That's when they become effective. Now, there used to be
Not when
language.
they're written. Not when they're written in the minutes or.
No, now,
or,
there used to be language that says it becomes effective upon being recorded. That doesn't happen anymore. That doesn't exist anymore. So the rules don't have to be recorded. Okay? Quick lesson on
How does
rules.
somebody know about it if they don't read the minutes? or-
Great question. Great question. No, I'm sorry. HOA, sorry. Brand new law. Only for HOAs. Are you in an HOA or condo?
HOA.
Okay. Only for you, my friend. Only for you. Brand new law about rules in HOAs. The rules now, if there's a change, it has to be mailed to everybody in the community. Only for HOAs.
Okay.
Okay, so that's how you're going to find out about it.
Okay.
I'm thinking
Check your
condos.
mailbox.
That rule does not apply to condos, believe it or not.
Emailed
And-
or like snail mail?
it says mailed.
Okay.
So what's bizarre in the condo HOA world is that sounds like a pretty good rule, right? Pretty good statute, right? When a rule gets passed, send it to everybody. Let everybody know, right? So why wouldn't that also go in the condo statute?
Yeah.
And you just can't figure out why. It's just
Can it be homogenous?
yeah. Exactly.
What about posting? What about posting it on the website? Does that?
It should be on the website. Yes,
That doesn't-
exactly. It can go on the
Because it's in your
website.
rules.
That's exactly right. Karen's certainly in favor of that.
Okay.
Right?
The by the way,
Good question. Okay, great question. But
Li-
yet there's too many of these things that it's a great statute. Somebody worked hard at putting it together, right? And then you have to say, wait a
Right.
minute, why isn't it in both sets of communities?
Yeah, it makes no
right?
sense.
Makes no sense. So maybe next year we take a deep breath and we go through the statutes that are good,
They can
but they're
fix
only
the-
in one community, and move them over. We copy it in the other community.
When
right?
do you have your list of live courses?
Oh my God, I forgot.
I know,
Holy
because
cow.
you got to teach this stuff.
Wait a minute, hold on. I I got
Where
them
are they?
somewhere,
I don't
and
have
know
them
where
over
I put
here.
it.
What's
Who has the information?
I don't
oh
have
my
it.
God. Nobody has it?
No, I don't have it.
Oh, that's terrible. So you know what?
I was looking for
Oh
it.
my God, I forgot to print them out. So Robert, you don't have them in front of you, right?
Have you put them up on the
So the dates are on the screen.
Okay, good.
The dates are on the screen.
Okay, so
God,
here we go.
Robert has saved my butt today.
And I'm on delay. so-
Robbie, can you read them out?
Yeah, we have in October 9th, it's the Palm Beach Convention Center.
Okay, these are all L&L events at the L&L Condo and HOA Expo. All of these start at 8:30 a.m. and
Okay.
all of these will meet, just so you know, all of these will meet the requirements for the new statute for condo members and for HOA members, okay? Rob, I will give you the floor, my friend.
All right, so just continuing to October 15th at the Broward Convention Center, and October 24th at Tampa Convention Center, over to Bradenton Convention Center on October 29th, and then ending that tour on November 13th in Orlando.
So pretty much
That
October,
is fantastic.
early
you
November.
saved my butt today. Okay? So I so look forward to meeting everybody and teaching everybody. It's going to be an honor and a pleasure. So sign up for the classes.
Where do they
okay?
go to register?
They go to www.condocrazeandhoas.com to register. Again, Condo Craze and HOAs to register. And let's wrap up with this. If you need legal help off the air, you need an attorney, get in touch with Glazer and Sachs at 954-983-1112. Again, 954-983-1112. And if you want to learn a little about the firm, it's www.condo-laws.com. Again, condo-laws.com. And I think that brings us to the end. An exhausting but fulfilling, honestly fulfilling show. Today was fantastic.
Thank you, Eric.
I so enjoyed the beginning of the show, and I so enjoyed in teaching everybody the most important topic there is,
I learned
quite
a
frankly,
ton of
right
stuff,
now. Yeah,
and
today
I've done
was,
this with you for 15 years,
Yep.
so hello.
Today was a fantastic show, and it's, again, like I said, it's always an honor to be with everybody every Sunday, and when the phone rings and when the questions come in on the board, it just makes my heart feel really, really good that people put their trust in us.
That's right.
Okay? So we will see you again and speak to you again next Sunday on